All right, before I get into today's topics, plural, I wanted to show you this little clip. This is a bald eagle that Carolyn and I saw yesterday. We were going to get some snacks before the freezing rain event that we had today, and we passed this up. This is the third time that we've seen a bald eagle in this area. One right outside our house. It was in a tree right outside our house. The other time was on a street near us. The problem was I couldn't really show you the eagle without showing road signs and different things that would have clearly identified where we were at. But this time I was able to show you. I've lived in Missouri my entire life and I've never seen a bald eagle. Moved to this area, I don't want to tell you where we're at. I mean, somebody will figure it out, but this area apparently is getting repopulated with bald eagles. It's amazing. And this is the reason why we don't let our chickens free roam or free range or whatever you want to call them. Because, I mean, we got hawks and owls and different things. And we saw an owl the other day. He was trying to stalk the chickens, but these eagles would pick one up in a big hurry. I had a troll attack last night for me. It'd be 2 nights for you. It's interesting. When I talk about commenters, I get tons of people say, ignore the trolls. Well, usually, no, that's not true. Mostly always, I guess. Yeah, just let's say always, I do ignore the trolls. The trolls are so obvious. But the folks I usually address are actual commenters. They're not trolls. Trolls come in and try to get you to respond to them. Well, I've got this one troll. I know exactly where he lives. I'll call him out. He lives in Wisconsin. I mean, he's an absolute terror. He's been terrorizing me for 6 years. He's got millions of accounts. And so what he does every day, just a bored, useless individual. He'll subscribe a bunch of accounts each day, and then when my video releases, he unsubscribes all those accounts and makes it look like, oh no, I've just lost 20 subscribers. Occasionally what happens is he forgets to subscribe his millions of accounts. A video gets released at 3 o'clock my time, and this guy's like, oh no, I don't have anything to unsubscribe. So he just freaks out. And so what he does is immediately starts commenting about how terrible of an individual I am, and that I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just disgusting. Well, he was really bored and upset with himself yesterday. So his first comment was, insulation, dude, meaning I need to insulate my water tank, which anybody who wants to look at it knows it is insulated. Around the plumbing, I have tons of insulation. And then he comes right back, maybe 15 minutes later. Insulation, you gotta have insulation. And then he talks about my plumbing, which I'll come back to in a minute. Then he comes back with another account and he spams it with a bunch of just terrible things. That I live in a tarp tent because I had a tarp laying over my IBC tank, and just on and on and on. Well, I got 3 people to message me about this. What it was is Carolyn and I was watching a TV show. We always do it this time of the day. He spammed the comment section. So everybody's very upset. This guy's saying things, which I find interesting because anytime I talk about a commenter, I'm told to ignore the comment or the haters or the trolls. But as soon as a real troll comes into my channel, then all the commenters, and this happens every time, not all the commenters, but the ones who read it, immediately get upset with this guy. I mean, just immediately. And so they start messaging me, what is this guy saying about you, Rob? We love you, all that stuff. And I appreciate it. I really do. Again, obvious troll. This guy was just trying to be hateful. But he did bring up a point. Even though he spelled most words wrong and he put many words together that actually don't go together, kind of show you his intelligence level. But he's a master plumber, and only master plumbers can do anything with plumbing. And they always give their resume. I mean, of course, they're not a plumber. How can you be a plumber when you've sat behind a computer most of your life, drunk, hating the world, just being a jerk? You can't be a plumber. You can't be anything more than a guy who collects welfare, food stamps. That's it. That's all you know how to do. And then tell everybody how terrible they are. He's jealous. But anyway, he goes on to say he apparently knows how to use Google. Says, you can't use garden hoses for your water because in the cold weather below 50 degrees, I think that's what he said. Of course, you know, like I said, many of the words that he used just doesn't go together. They don't work together. So he is indicating that the garden hoses will deteriorate below 50 degrees. Strange thing though is I don't use garden hoses, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then he says the only thing you can use is PEX pipe, which I actually had never heard of. Now, I worked as a plumber for a while in Oklahoma. He used copper, and I've always used PVC. I mean, the plumber that I worked for used copper. But anytime I did anything, I always used PVC outside of that job. But I never heard of this PEX pipe. So I Googled it. Now, he's indicating that this stuff is just amazing stuff. All you gotta do is insulate it and it will never freeze. Well, that's not true. Water goes through it, it freezes. Surprise! I've never had a freezing problem. Well, that's great. You know, you're apparently like better than everybody else. Now, what it is it's just a plastic tube. And from what I can tell on Google, it comes in red and blue. I ignore it. I block him. I blocked all 3 accounts that he came in on. Blocked all the spam. But he'll come back with more accounts. So don't worry. He'll be back. Immediately, the thing you got to think about is what he's saying is genuinely not true. I've showed you things that I do around his house that he completely contradicted. So the first thing he says, I got to use PEX pipe because this garden hose isn't going to work. Well, first of all, it's not a garden hose. I think you can see it. This is right here is an RV hose. You use these for RV water systems. And the reason you use that is several reasons, I guess. One, it's white, and you can't mix it up with anything else. It's white. We know white is RV. And you can pick these up at Walmart, and they're relatively cheap. They're not very expensive at all. I don't know, 30 bucks, 20 feet. It's not terrible. Now, where a garden hose, you drink it, and you can get that garden hose taste. Now, I know a lot of people from the age, because I drink a water garden hose, and it won't kill you. Okay, fine. Of course, you're not drinking all your water from that water hose, garden hose. It does have a taste. So why drink it if you can buy a different hose? I mean, it's funny. People will just argue just to argue. But the RV hose it doesn't transfer that chemical or that. We've always used it. Now, originally, I had a bucket that had an RV pump on it. So I pump water out of the bucket in it, and we could take showers. That's when we were traveling. So I took the same concept, and I transferred it to an IBC tank. So instead of a bucket, I have an IBC tank. And then I ran that hose through this insulation. So you'll see this, or ventilation. It's insulated ventilation. And then you'll see that I have a fan that blows air from inside the house, outside, through that IBC tank. And the hose is inside that, down below. It works fantastic. I've never had a real issue with it, but it does get below 0. It will freeze. And I just made a video the other day. I'll put an up next box to that video at the end of this video. But I was very clear in that video. It's not a problem for us. If we know it's going to freeze, we can disconnect the RV pump, drain the water out of the hose, and we're fine. Then I have 2 RV hoses that run from the well into filters that I can fill the tank with, or I can hook it up here. See, I can disconnect this. This is hooked up to the RV pump, but I can disconnect this and hook it straight up to the well. Why I'm so happy with it is it's just easy to get, easy to repair. You got to figure if something breaks, I have to go to the hardware store or Walmart, or I got to go somewhere. Well, there's a hardware store not far from us, and they have these hoses. Now I could get the PEX pipe or anything, but this is just easy to repair. You can put junctions. So let's say you have a hole develops in this hose. You can buy a junction. You can actually get those at Dollar General. You can cut the hose, run one side of the hose, run the other side to the other side of the hose, use clamps, and it's very similar to what I've done right here. And you've just repaired your hose. And that cost hardly nothing, maybe $3. And I actually made one repair. Well, I didn't really make the repair. What I did was I wanted to shorten the hose, so I cut out a length of hose and just connected the 2 hoses using that little connector. You buy those at the hardware store or Dollar General. The ones at the hardware store have a little bit more quality to them. They're not plastic and all that. So the reason I continue to use the hoses is simply for repairs. Let's say I wanted to replace this hose. And Carolyn came up with this idea. All I'd have to do is disconnect it from the water heater, screw in my new hose to the end of this hose, and start pulling the hose outside, and it would drag the hose, the new hose, outside. Then I don't even have to run it through the house. I don't have to mess up the ventilation or tear into anything, just pull it through. Imagine trying to do that with copper or anything. Now, here's the thing about the PEX pipe. I looked it up. There's lots of advantages to it, and most of the advantages were plumbers liked how easy it is to use. That was pretty much the advantage. The other advantage about homeowners liking them, it didn't transfer any metals. So like you're using copper, of course you could use PVC, but if you're using copper, you're transferring metals. The downside to this PEX pipe is rodents love this stuff. They eat it. So imagine this. I have an IBC tank that's outside, that we have a cat who monitors the IBC tank nonstop to keep the rodents out of it. I've seen mice in there, chipmunks and squirrels. All three of them would probably eat this hose, so I'll be repairing it or replacing it all the time. So no advantage there. Second disadvantage is homeowners actually have a taste. There's a taste to it they don't like. And so a lot of homeowners actually have this hose replaced because of the bad taste. The thing I wanted to say about this is just because you want to do something your way doesn't make it the only way. You can do things differently. Okay, so let's talk about my channel. As you know, I have been making compilation videos of the tiny house build for the last several weekends. What I've been doing is taking about 10 videos and downloading them back onto my hard drive, taking the bits and pieces out of it and playing them. And I keep asking everybody, do you like these videos? And overwhelmingly, everybody is saying, yeah, they love the videos. What I noticed is 1 week I'll do it and the video does really good, be in first place out of the top, last 10 videos I made. And then the very next week it's the 10th video out of the last 10 videos I made. And it's terrible. I always say, well, I don't think I'm going to do another one, and then I end up doing another one. And then it'll be up there at the top, first place. And I'm like, okay, let's do it again, and back down. 2 weekends ago, I did one, and it was at the bottom 10. It was terrible. It really did poorly. I thought, well, I'm not going to do any more. I got busy, wasn't able to make a video because of all this cold weather and everything. And I thought, what the heck, I'm going to do one more, give it another shot, and see what happens. And it did worse than the previous one. It was the number 10 again out of the last 10 videos. What's wrong with it is it's not getting any watch time. I make a 15-minute video, and in order for a video to do well, I really need to be up there at 8 minutes average watch time, which means the viewers come in, they watch it. One viewer may watch it for 15 minutes, another viewer may watch it for 5 minutes, and one viewer may put it in fast forward, and one viewer may put it in regular speed. And so it averages out to about 8 minutes. But the last two videos, for the first hour, I should say, which is the most critical hour, averaged about 5 minutes. I mean, a 15-minute video averaged 5 minutes. Not begging or anything, but I have asked the viewers to watch it at regular speed and watch it all the way through. So what I did was I made a community tab post, and I asked, do you love these videos? And I said yes or no. 21% of the people said no, they didn't like it. So that left, 79% of the people saying, yeah, we love it. So you would think at 79%, I would say, we're going to continue to do these videos, but I can't. If you really think about it, 21% of the people open up the video, realize after 30 seconds or so, oh, I don't want to watch this video. I don't like these tiny house build videos. And so they close out. So now my average watch time, even though one viewer is watching for 15 minutes, or let's just call it 10 minutes, another viewer just watched for 30 seconds, and it just tanked that video, average watch time. I mean, we're not even getting 5 minutes out of that on average, if you have two people watching. So I can't really do these videos anymore. And you're going to say, well, what about the viewers that love you and we want to see them? And I appreciate it. I really do. The problem is it cost me money to make that video. And it takes about 4 hours to edit it. What it is I have to download 10 videos. Well, I'm on AT&T hotspot, and I got to pay for that. I'm not making enough money to pay for the hotspot for that video. So I'm losing money. It just doesn't make financial sense. I mean, this is my job. I got to make money at it, but I'm losing money. Plus the time that it takes to put in there. I'm downloading 10 videos. So I'm, what, 10 times, let's just call it an average of 11 minutes or something. Anyway, it averages out to about 2 hours of videos that I got to condense down into 15 minutes. So I'm not really complaining about the work, but I am complaining about the money. So I'm not going to continue making those videos. There was only a few weekends left. I'm just going to go back to regular YouTube videos that I make. So if you can click this up next box to take that video where I was talking about the water tank. So I hope I can inspire you to see the bald eagle when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.